Welcome everyone to today's Explainer. I am incredibly excited to take you on a majestic, truly cinematic journey today. We're going to retrace the steps of ancient merchants, legendary monks, and towering armies along what is arguably human history's most vital artery. We are exploring the Hexi Corridor. This is a place where epic geography meets absolutely unyielding human resilience. And honestly, I guarantee you're going to see some of the most breathtaking landscapes and architectural marvels on the planet today. So let's get into it. Okay, let's dive right into this east-to-west expedition. We'll be covering the Silk Road Gateway, the painted mountains of Zhangye, the temples in the cliffs, the last fortress, and we'll wrap up with the treasures of the oasis.
Starting off with Section 1, the Silk Road Gateway. To really understand the Hexi Corridor, we first have to start at the geographical life source of the entire region, the mighty Qilian Mountains.
Between mountains and deserts, China found its road to the world. That thought perfectly captures the absolute essence of our journey. You see, the Hexi Corridor isn't just a regular road. It's a narrow 1,200-kilometer strip of habitable land. Imagine this for a second. To your north, you have vast, completely unforgiving deserts. And to your south, the towering snow-capped Tibetan Plateau. This incredibly narrow geographical bottleneck was literally the only viable path connecting ancient China to Central Asia and Europe. It was, for sure, China's road to the world. But you might be wondering, how does this tiny strip of land survive when it's totally surrounded by drought?
Well, the answer is way up in the peaks. The Qilian Mountains contain over 3,000 glaciers, and those glaciers are storing tens of billions of cubic meters of solid water. To put that massive scale into perspective, because it's huge, if all those glaciers were to melt, they'd produce enough water to sustain a modern city of 20 million people for 20 solid years. That is a lot of water. As the weather warms up, this glacial meltwater flows down, bringing life to the desert and nourishing the oases that made travel along the Silk Road entirely possible.
Moving right along to Section 2, the painted mountains of Zhangye. Heading westward from those snow-capped peaks, we enter a landscape that honestly looks like it belongs on another planet entirely.
Welcome to the Zhangye Danxia National Geopark. Now, Danxia literally translates to red clouds, but trust me, that name barely does it justice. About 500 million years ago, this entire area was just an ocean floor, accumulating layers and layers of aquatic life and sediment. Then, roughly 50 million years ago, the Indian and Eurasian tectonic plates collided. This violently thrust that ancient ocean floor upward into the sky. That massive geological upheaval exposed these breathtaking layers of sedimentary rock to the elements, slowly carving out the completely surreal landscape we see today. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why it looks so wild. While a lot of mountains are just, gray or brown, Zhangye is a vibrant rainbow, and it all comes down to a very specific mineral color palette. Over millions of years, different minerals basically oxidized and baked right into the rock. Hematite, or iron oxide, rusted to create these deep, striking reds. Chlorite brings out the cooler greens and blues, while iron sulfide adds these vibrant, almost shocking yellows. You are essentially looking at a 24-million-year-old chemical painting.
But wait, having all these minerals just mixed together could have easily resulted in a dull, muddy brown landscape, right? So why are there such distinct stripes? Well, that is thanks to a fascinating geological process called sorting. Back when this was an ocean floor, underwater currents literally push particles of identical size and mass together. So all the iron oxide clumped together over here, and all the chloride clumped together over there. While there are definitely other colorful mountains in the world, the perfectly organized sorting here makes this a globally unparalleled visual marvel. The colors are perfectly saturated and neatly organized into these distinct, awe-inspiring bands.
All right, on to Section 3. Temples in the cliffs. From nature's giant geological masterpieces, we now transition to the microscale, to raw human resilience. We are heading to the Mati, or Horseshoe Temple.
Get this. This site is incredibly ancient. Carved during the Northern Liang period over 1,500 years ago, the Mati Temple actually predates the incredibly famous Mogao Caves in Dunhuang by a full 300 years. Long before other famous Silk Road monuments were even established, devoted Tibetan Buddhist monks were out here, carving sanctuaries directly into the sheer mountain cliffs facing the Qilian Range.
And the architecture, it is nothing short of extreme. To navigate these temples, monks and pilgrims actually have to climb through near 90-degree vertical, pitch-black staircases that are carved deep inside the raw cliff face. You literally have to use your hands and feet to just pull yourself up through these dark stone tunnels.
It's a dizzying, highly demanding physical testament to human devotion. Honestly, it perfectly reinforces this whole theme of people carving out a fragile yet enduring existence in a very unforgiving stone landscape.
Which brings us to Section 4, the last fortress. Continuing our journey further west, we arrive at a truly formidable military bottleneck. Known historically as the first and greatest pass under heaven, this is Jiaoguan.
The placement of this fortress is an absolute masterclass in strategic geography, built by the Ming Dynasty in 1372. The dimensions really speak for themselves here. To the north, you have the steep, unforgiving Black Mountain, just 8 kilometers away. To the south, the Qilian Mountains, just 7 kilometers away. The Ming Dynasty built the Jiaoguan fortress exactly in this 15-kilometer natural choke point. Think about it. Any nomadic invasion force trying to enter the Chinese heartland had absolutely no choice but to face the massive walls of Jiaoguan.
But here's the thing. Building a fortress of this magnitude in the middle of a desert was a complete logistical nightmare, and it brings up a fascinating legend about its master craftsman, an architect named Yi Kaijian. His military superiors demanded a flawless construction plan, literally threatening him with execution if he wasted any materials. So how on earth did he calculate the exact number of bricks needed for the whole shebang?
Now, what's really interesting about this is the legend states that Yi Kaijian did his math and ordered exactly 99,999 bricks. When the massive fortress was finally completed, there was exactly one single brick left over. Facing execution for this one tiny mistake, Yi Kaijian quickly, and honestly rather brilliantly, declared it the stability brick. He said it was placed there by a divine spirit and claimed that moving it even an inch would cause the entire city to collapse in an instant. No way anyone was touching it after that. Today, that single brick still sits right on a ledge over one of the fortress's gates, completely untouched for over 600 years.
Actually, bricks were the easy part. The foundation required massive stone slabs mined from the Black Mountain kilometers away. So how did they move them without heavy machinery? The ancient engineers used an incredibly ingenious hack. In the freezing winter, they built sloping paths from the mountain all the way down to the fortress. Then, they poured water over the sloping paths to create a frictionless ice road, essentially inventing the world's most heavy-duty slip and slide. They effortlessly slid the massive heavy stone slabs all the way to the construction site. It is just brilliant raw engineering.
Finally, we reach Section 5, Treasures of the Oasis. Leaving the heavy fortress walls behind, we now enter the deep desert of Dunhuang. This is where the Great Wall ended and ancient travelers officially faced the vast, unknown western wastes. The journey through this region was incredibly perilous. It was famously undertaken by the monk Xuanzang in 627 AD as he traveled to India to retrieve Buddhist scriptures. Arriving in this area as a wanted man without papers, he was completely stuck. But he met a local guide named Shipan Tuo. In the dead of night, Shipan Tuo helped Xuanzang hack down branches to build a makeshift bridge and cross the highly treacherous Shulei River. This fearless, resourceful guide, acting as Xuanzang's protector, left such a mark on history that he eventually inspired the mythical character Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, in the classic novel Journey to the West. So the crucial point here is how travelers actually survived the brutal desert after crossing. The answer lies in Dunhuang's Crescent Lake. This lake is a fragile oasis perfectly balanced in a yin-yang ecosystem of sand and water. The evaporation rate here is 60 times higher than the rainfall. By all accounts, it should be a dry dust bowl. Yet for thousands of years it has never dried up. Why? Because it is sustained by invisible underground seepage from the distant Shulei River. It's a perpetual water source hiding beneath the deadly dunes, giving life to weary travelers.
From the life-giving glaciers of the mighty Qilian Mountains to the 24-million-year-old painted rocks of Zhangye, from the impossible cliffside staircases of Mati Temple to the impenetrable walls of Jiaoguan, all the way to the miraculous Crescent Lake. How did this impossible merging of geography and raw human resilience create a timeless gateway that still awes the world today? The Hexi Corridor, as you've seen, isn't just a stretch of land. It is a profound testament to survival, ingenuity, and the relentless human drive to connect with the unknown. I really hope this explainer has left you eager to learn even more about the ancient Silk Road. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey.